Joe with Gramophone, and we're at CanJam 2024. And this time we've got the pleasure of being not only with Dan Clark Audio, but with Dan Clark of Dan Clark Audio. How are you, Dan?
Doing great, Joe.
Good to meet you, because I have not met you before. We've been doing some business with you on your headphone products and so forth, but this is a brand new product that apparently we have ordered but not taken delivery of yet. And I would be super excited if you can tell us a little bit about E3.
Sure. E3 is our mid-range headphone. These are priced at $2,000 US. And this was a really fun project because 2 years ago we introduced our Stealth headphone, and then followed that up with Expanse. And those have done really, really well. They're expensive headphones. They're in the $4,000 category. And the goal with this headphone was to pack as much technology and experience from those headphones as we can, but at a price that would bring this to a much larger audience. So this headphone, the E3, is at $2,000, which makes it, half the price.
Half the money.
And you know the way that price elasticity in the market works, it probably means that 4 times as many people will have access to this as a product.
Yes.
And the key thing about this was we really wanted to make this a no-compromise high-end experience. And so it incorporates tons of technology from the Stealth and Expanse line, starting with the self-adjusting headband strap, which makes it so that the headphone fits anyone easily. There's no buttons or snaps or things that can break. It just fits.
And that part, by the way, if you don't mind me interjecting, is crucial because for me, if it's not a comfortable headphone, it doesn't matter how great it sounds. You're not going to use it that often.
Thank you for my talking point, because I actually tried to design all of our headphones for what I call the 8-hour rule, which is I want to be able to wear it for 8 hours without having hot spots develop on the top of my head or on my ear cartilage. And most headphones don't do that. And the reason I came up with that rule was the first high-end headphone I invested in before I made my own company.
Right.
I loved the sound of it at the time, but I couldn't listen for more than 15 or 20 minutes before I started to get a hot spot on the top of my head. And so literally I couldn't finish listening to much of anything except 1 or 2 songs. So I developed what I called the 8-hour rule, which is I have to be able to wear this for 8 hours at least in a day without anything bothering me.
Wow.
So if you want to say it that way, we're comfort junkies. You just have to there's no point making a headphone that isn't comfortable because it's not going to get used ultimately.
Right. Right. Love it.
The other thing that we really paid attention to was the ergonomics of things like portability. For closed headphones, a lot of times people want to take them traveling, and we wanted it to be able to fit in a very compact form factor so that it's backpack friendly. So the headphones come with a case and lets you just fold them up, drop them in a small compact carrying case, and put them in a backpack or a large bag, and keep them safe.
Dynamite.
So a couple other neat things about this headphone, just starting kind of going from the outside in. One of the ways we reduce cost is simplifying the mechanical design of it, and we came up with what we felt was a really interesting and aesthetic compromise, which was to use Gorilla Glass for the exterior surface. So this is a really tough glass with a nice pattern printed underneath it. And in fact, I've had multiple times where people came to me and said, is that an open headphone, when they first looked at it, because we put this matrix pattern in. And the reason we chose that pattern is this headphone sounds really open and expansive. As a closed-back headphone, if you put it on and you're in a quiet room where there's no ambient noise, you probably would think it was an open headphone, which was the goal.
Yeah.
And the way we get that to happen is this technology right in here.
Okay.
And that's called AMTS, which stands for Acoustic Metamaterial Tuning System. And basically, this is an array of quarter wave resonators which we terminate in different ways to get to both shape the frequency response and also to eliminate all the standing waves that normally develop around your ear in a headphone. I think a lot of people are used to the idea of in their listening room or in a stadium, people know that bass response is not uniform throughout the room. And that's because when you have two speakers generating waves, they'll add with each other and make the overall wave bigger, and sometimes the waves will be out of phase and the signal can almost disappear. So you get huge variations in the bass response in a room. In a headphone, this is your room. And because it's so small, what happens is the standing waves are at high frequencies instead of low. So those peaks and dips you get are at at high frequencies. And particularly with closed headphones, that can become a problem because it makes the highs sound synthetic and unnatural or shrill. And so what we've done now is we've eliminated all of the standing waves in the room with this technology. And it makes it so that you have an exceptionally realistic treble presentation, which is really hard to get from headphones, especially when they're closed.
Yeah.
And so the acoustic metamaterial, that's our patent pending tech in there. Probably the coolest individual piece of technology that we've invented.
That's really awesome.
And then the last thing is on the inside. This uses a really advanced driver. It's based on some of the technology that we used in our Stealth and Expanse headphones, but it's been cost reduced, so it doesn't have quite the level of performance, but it really gets you like 95% of the way there, if not more, but at half the price. Mm-hmm. And so this has rapidly become our second best-selling headphone, probably soon to become our best-selling headphone.
My gosh. Dan, I love it when a manufacturer develops a really high-end product and then asks the simple question, how close can we come to what we just did if we just make some changes to, maybe a mechanical engineering change or some of the other things that you alluded to in this explanation. This has got to be a product that has you personally really excited, because I'm getting excited just thinking about this one.
I kind of felt, for me, this was a love letter to the headphone community.
Yeah.
I started the company 12 years ago with the goal of making people happy.
Yes.
I'd worked in high tech for a long time, and I worked in internet security, and there it was basically like selling insurance. You're trying to protect people from the bad things that can happen, and nobody wants what you're selling, they just have to have it.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, that's kind of, it's a business, and it's important, and it's work that needs to be done, but at the end of the day, it just wasn't satisfying. And when I got out of tech and decided to do my own thing, I really wanted to do something that, at the end of the day, was going to make somebody happy. Mm-hmm. And, music was always my first passion, and it was why I went into engineering. So I decided to start a headphone company. And the whole goal has always been to just, to make the things that we're doing accessible to more people. So we've always taken the approach of taking our technology and pushing it down as best we can to cost reduce it.
Yes.
And the flagship products are, generally most people will listen to Stealth and Expanse and say, well, I prefer that for the following reason. But there are plenty of people who listen to this and prefer it. And so we've done a good enough job with it that at half the price, people can listen to them and they'll say, I don't feel like I'm losing something by going down here.
Right.
It may not be quite as perfect in the following areas. And then we get lucky sometimes and people say, this is really just my thing, and I like it even more. Mm-hmm. So, that was the goal, was to bring it down in price and make it accessible to people, and it's been such a hit that we've been hiring like crazy this year.
And will you tell us your background? Is it in mechanical, electrical? What kind of engineering?
I'm an electrical engineer.
Electrical engineer.
Yep. And at the time when I was studying, my focus was on power amplifiers. So I was doing 200 watt Class AB MOSFET discrete amplifiers as my undergraduate thesis.
Wow.
So.
Okay. Well, I'm so glad that you both had a successful career in technology, but then decided, I want to do something that will bring people pleasure, because when I first took a job out of school and hated it, and 6 months later took a job selling at retail, I thought, this is so cool. Someone comes in, I play their favorite kind of music, and if I do a good job, they give me money. Like, who invented this job? This is awesome. So, congratulations on the E3. we're looking forward to getting our shipment of E3 and starting to satisfy our customers with this product. And I just want to encourage you to keep developing more and more cool products, because our overall headphone business just keeps going up.
Yeah.
People love personal listening.
Well, you know, I've said it this way. You know, people in our generation were the two-channel stereo people.
Yep.
The next generation was home theater.
Yes.
Then the next generation is personal audio.
Yes.
And so it is the space in the industry that is growing.
Yep.
It happens to be fortunate for me that I really loved headphones and just was never satisfied with the ones I could get. So that's why I chose to do this instead of something else.
Well, Dan, this has been a pleasure. Thank you for joining us.
Sure thing.
Today.
Thank you.
And thank you, folks, for your participation in this video. To find out more about Dan Clark Audio products, go to Gramophone.com. And if you want to purchase your own set of Dan Clark Audio headphones, go to Sky by Gramophone, where you always get a secure checkout, fast and free shipping, straight to your door. We've been reporting from CanJam 2024 here in New York City, having fun here with Dan Clark Audio. Thanks for watching. We'll see you soon.